I'm waiting for the system to tell me. There we go. It says you are live. I'll let the timer click off a couple seconds and I'll clear my throat and we'll get started.
Nice. I'll take a sip of water too.
By all means. Absolutely. Yes. So, pardon, pardon me.
Oh, of course, please.
Yeah, I'm going to drink some water as well. Getting over bronchitis. Thank God not
Oh
COVID.
my God. Well, one, thank goodness. And two, also thank goodness that you're over bronchitis very soon because dang.
Yeah, man, just, how it is. It's all good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. Jen Troy, welcome to Word Balloon. It is a pleasure to meet you, and I'm so glad that you're taking your storytelling skills into the comic book world.
Thank you so much, John. It's wonderful to be here with you.
Let's talk about the new project. I'm looking at it now. As we're recording this, there are 19 days to go on your Kickstarter for Assassin G, Jen the 19th Sister, or Gan, pardon me, my short eyeballs. So,
you're fine.
And this is based on, tell us what Assassin G is based on.
Of course. Oh my goodness. So Assassin G is based on a Chinese wuxia novel by Xiao Yi. And it's set in ancient China about an assassin seeking revenge for her master, basically. Now, Xiao Yi's son, Peter Xiao, is the CEO and founder of Immortal Studios. They actually reached out to me. I actually didn't know about the property until a mutual friend put me and Peter in touch. And Peter was like, I'm really looking to adapt my father's work into a more modern era and also into English for the Western audiences. Is this something you'd be interested in? And I was like, hell yeah. A female assassin? She's Chinese? Yes. And you want to set in the 80s? I mean, all right. Let's talk about the hair. Let's talk about the clothes. Come on.
That's fantastic. I was the 80s. That was my high school and college years. So I can relate. That's fantastic. And this is great. So, yeah, this is like, two assassins on opposite sides suddenly finding themselves in love. But, they also have their code that they have to follow.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's basically it follows these basically families, as I'm calling them, of just extremely talented martial artists. And on one side, you have our lead, Assassin G, Margot Gan, who is seeking revenge for her master, who basically was betrayed in the 40s in China by these other families. And so now Margot, our Assassin G, is going after these families on her master's behalf. And along the way, she encounters this one man named JP Yin from the Yu Yang family. And sparks start to fly. And she is like, wait a second, he's my enemy. I need to kill this man. And yet I really dig him. So it really kind of sets that up, like a little Romeo and Juliet.
Sure.
And also, of course, they're both incredible martial artists. So, there's also some attraction there with just each other's skill set, being able to really meet their match in that sense as well.
I love crime procedurals and learning about the different cultures and the way that crime families are run and the various shades from Italian. I'm Greek myself. And we got our shady pasts and our shady characters in my culture and everything. And it is really interesting to see the similarities, but also the differences in the various cultures. And I this is a cool opportunity to kind of, as you say, take these stories and present them to a Western and more another audience beyond the Chinese audience.
Exactly. And a lot of it too is in the genre, like the wuxia genre itself is incredible. There's so many different nuances that I feel like Western audiences don't know. And I honestly didn't really know until I started diving into the material. Growing up, my dad introduced me to, Bruce Lee films and Kung Fu and whatnot. And, so I definitely had that background and like Kung Fu Hustle, I'm a fan of.
Oh, yeah.
But, so just really being able to dive in and understand more of the background to the genre and what really drives some of the moves and just some of the, at times, supernatural experiences, not in this comic, because this comic is a little bit more grounded.
Sure.
It's more based on you harnessing your inner chi. So Margot harnesses her inner chi to be able to do all of these amazing things. Like she is able to battle men who are like twice her size and take them down without a weapon, because she has been able to really harness that energy inside her and unleash it on the world.
Can you explain wuxia? Because this is a phrase I've never heard, so I'm a good kind of lab rat to get an opportunity to hear. I mean, and obviously we'll figure it out as well as we read the book. But yeah, tell me more about the genre.
Sure. I will do my best. Honestly, Peter is really, when you hear him talk about the wuxia genre and also what he's trying to do with Mortal Studios Storyverse, if you're just like, dang, that's eloquent. I wish I could harness that. So I'll do my best. But wuxia is truly a martial arts fantasy genre. So, your Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon,
Yep.
Kung Fu Hustle kind of thing. And how Peter describes as Peter describes it in like his immortal storyverse that we are kind of all working together on, like all of our projects are falling under it in the same world, in the sense that there are 4 pillars that kind of encapsulate the different skill levels of the martial arts within this fantasy genre. And Assassin G falls under the 2nd pillar, where it goes beyond street fighting, where you kind of look at these people outside and they're just fighting and they're have great skill, but it's nothing more than just training in that regard. And so with Assassin G, it's that times harnessing your inner energy, your chi, as I mentioned before. And the idea is to go in and really just be able to connect with your own energy and the energy around you, to be able to do things like, hit somebody with what we call the touch of death. Spoiler,
Sure.
that's
Yes.
a move in Assassin G issue 1, where you can actually kill someone with hitting a specific pressure point on their body. And so that's a big part of the wuxia, specifically in Assassin G.
Okay. Well, and I remember the rumors when Bruce Lee passed away that it was the touch of death that he had gotten, as opposed to the actual brain hemorrhage that he passed away from. Or like, again, I don't know if you buy into the rumors or whatever, or, and I don't mean to diminish what you're explaining and everything, but yeah, I don't know, it's
Yeah, no, that's I believe it,
sure.
because I do think that there is a spirituality to some of that. You know what I mean?
I do.
And I again, pressure points, acupuncture, like I really do believe like that exists, and that's also something that drew me to this world, because I feel like it's very grounded in that.
Yes.
And I just like love that I can show a strong female lead who's also Asian, Chinese, like myself, just doing these cool things.
100%. It's so amazing. I'm glad you mentioned acupuncture, because again, I just love sometimes the universality of various homeopathic methods of curing pain or whatever. My father was a big believer, and my grandmother practiced what we called in Greek vendusis, and essentially you see it in the film if you ever saw The Madness of King George, and it looked like torture, but they've got like all these glass domes and are basically creating suction to like pull impurities out of the skin. And I know acupuncture is something different, but my grandmother would do this, and my aunt even practiced it as well, where they would just take teacups and be able to, like, with lighting something inside and creating a vacuum. And my dad was a real believer of that, and even his mother would do it to him, and then his older sister would do it to him, and he would just lie on his. I know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But again, it's like this, and that's why when acupuncture happened, it's like, oh, that's not that far from vendusis. This is amazing. So I do appreciate that universality. I also think that regarding the chi, and it's something I always appreciated reading Iron Fist as a kid, and even today, I'll admit it. But I love that comics, you can really kind of portray that kind of spirituality visually in effects and things like that. That even in a movie, not having seen some of these movies beyond Crouching Tiger and Iron Monkey back in the day, and
Mhm.
like you said, Kung Fu Hustle and stuff. But yeah, I think obviously comic art gives you an opportunity to show it in a different way.
Oh my god, definitely. And our artist, T How, is incredible. Oh my goodness. Like when I first got back, like, oh, like here's like, the rough idea, rough pages. I was like, oh my God, he got this amazingly perfect. Like he reached into my brain and just like took it out and put it on the page and made it even better. So I'm incredibly thankful for him for lending us his talent, because truly it's just insane, like as a writer, you're like, okay, I hope you're understanding this. Like, I hope you're like seeing what I'm seeing. And oh yeah, he's seeing what I'm seeing.
Well, if people go to the Kickstarter page, they'll be able to see interior art, cover art, and it looks great. And I'm very excited to see it happen. You still have 19 days to go, and you're very close to reaching your initial goal. I'm sure there are stretch goals coming. Hopefully, after the thing is fully funded. But yeah. Honestly, I like what I see so far.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Yeah. And the other thing I was going to say, checking out the Kickstarter page, is that we also have some really, really, really cool variant covers from some other wonderful artists. So that's really kind of just cool to see as someone who is new to the comics world. This is my first comic actually that I've written. And so that was just like, wow, like what an interesting thing that I knew about, but just didn't realize it would happen for this one. You know what I mean? So it
Sure.
was awesome to see other artists' renditions.
Well, I'm looking at the variant covers now as we're discussing this, and our my buddy Jim Chung is one of your
Mm-hmm.
variant cover artists. Great guy. That's wonderful, and I love his work. And then I don't want to say his name wrong. John Galang,
I think that's correct.
very cool. And Gene Ha, my buddy Gene Ha, another Chicago guy.
Mm-hmm,
What
mm-hmm.
I'm going to see him next week during the Sci-Fi Con that's happening. Joyce Chin,
Oh, cool.
another
Yeah.
very
And
very cool.
I was actually sorry, just to add, Joyce Chin actually designed Assassin G's outfit
Oh,
and
cool.
look completely, which was like awesome. She really got the 80s couture aesthetic that I was looking for, and just also being a Chinese American woman, she was like, oh yeah, I see what you're throwing down. I can do that. So it was awesome just working on that with her.
It's funny again with the 80s aesthetic. I love that we have things like Spotify now, and I know a lot of authors will assemble a playlist that would complement a novel that they write. And I know in some cases, graphic novels. Have you assembled an Assassin G playlist of 80s music?
I have, but it's it's very all over the place. I would say.
Well, rattle off
Um,
some bands.
um, gosh, I mean, oh god, I'm like blanking right now on it. I'd have to pull it up. Truly. Um,
No Soft Cell, Tainted Love, or
I guess I'm Tainted Love.
cool.
Some. Oh my god, I'm so
Come
sorry.
on,
Why
I'm
am I
early.
blanking?
I'm early MTV era. I mean, literally, I was like a sophomore in high school when MTV went on the air, and it's like this is the greatest thing, And we'd sit and watch hours of MTV, even when they didn't have that many videos to start with and stuff. So, and I was a big new wave guy back in the day. Big. Oh god, now I'm blanking. Ska and reggae.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I also have like a little bit of Blondie on there.
Cool.
Uh, Call Me. Got to get that in there. Got to hype yourself
Classic,
up.
certainly. Very nice. Yeah,
Um,
that fits. That definitely fits the vibe.
yeah.
This is
So,
great. Well, I'm very excited about this. And do you know from funding to when this will be in physical form, how long it'll take or anything?
it looks like it'll be in physical form in October of this year.
Oh, that's great.
Um, yeah. So that's right now on the Kickstarter page. That is the fulfillment month, and it looks like we should be definitely on track for that, which is just so stinking exciting. Oh
Hell
man,
yeah.
I can't wait to hold in my hands.
Very exciting. Excellent. I did want to talk obviously about your TV work as well.
Oh yeah, totally.
And yeah, so tell me, I mean, first of all, we got to talk about the Arrowverse and working on the CW shows, and especially Supergirl. But tell me your first assignment. How did you break in with those guys and women?
Yeah. So, one, everyone at Supergirl in the Arrowverse is absolutely amazing. And it was my first experience working on a TV show where you could literally walk downstairs and, another show is right there. Like more friends are right there, which was awesome and especially helpful when doing crossovers. I will say that. But yeah, so I joined Supergirl and the Flash as a showrunner assistant. And then I transitioned over to Supergirl. Fully, I was working for the very kind Jessica Queller and also the just amazing Robert Rovner, who, after my first season there, I was promoted to script coordinator, which was very exciting. So I was doing that for a year. And then after I kind of proved myself, Robert and Jessica were just so sweet, and they gave me a freelance episode to co-write for season 5, called The Bottle Episode. It was the first Supergirl episode after Crisis. So basically, Crisis was this big, giant crossover where all the worlds, I don't know if you remember, just kind of like everything shifted. The rules of all the worlds changed because they became one. Basically. And so it was really a fun episode to be like, okay, here are the new rules of the world, and we need to do it, in an hour. But it was awesome. Yeah, it was a lot. But honestly, being able to co-write it with Derek Simon and Nikki Holcomb was just an amazing experience. Those two are incredible to work with, and I really do hope I get to work with them again because they just made it so fun and easy. And that episode, actually, I got to go cover set, or basically produce my own episode in Vancouver. Yeah, definitely something that I didn't think was going to happen, because that usually goes to staff writers. So the fact they were giving me like a freelance writer and the script coordinator an opportunity and trusted me with going there and making sure everything was how they wanted, just, oh my goodness, it meant so much to me. So I went for the whole time alone, and was able to just make sure everything that we wrote and everything that we were hoping to actually have shot got shot and put together. So it was just an incredible experience.
Does that experience make you want to eventually show run? And I mean, I've been educated on the fact that yes, as you rise up the ranks of writer, producer, you can get more involved, really be there for every aspect of production. And talking to people that have worked on Marvel television shows and other CW shows. So yeah, I mean, is this fueling your ambitions in terms of evolving what you do from a writing standpoint?
Oh, definitely. I would be so honored to be able to, make my own show one day and show run, or make someone, help someone else really make their own show, because it's just really cool. It's just awesome to be able to see, the images and the words that you really only see in your head, like, come to life for everybody else. And I think that would be amazing. Honestly, if we could get Assassin G to be adapted into a TV show, my God, I don't know.
Cool.
It would just be like so awesome.
And also from the graphic novel or the comic book writing experience, do you want to write more comics?
I do, yeah. Right now, I definitely want to focus on Assassin G, and
Certainly.
Going as far as we can with her. But yeah, I would love to. This has been an incredible experience. And honestly, comic book writing was something I just didn't think anyone would ever pay me to do, So being able to do this and actually, get paid to do it is just another dream come true.
Well, first of all, Assassin G, is it a graphic novel? Is it going to be issues? I mean, how is the story going to lay out?
So it'll be issues. It'll be a series. And right now we're in the first arc.
Sure.
And we'll see where it goes from there. But I want you to know that I have in my head the story goes very far
Cool.
compared to what's in issue 1. So there's a lot more coming, I hope.
And now tell me about. I'm assuming you were a comic book reader. I mean, it sounds like it.
Yes, for sure. Well, I started when I was a kid. Sunday funnies.
Of
They were
course.
awesome. So that kind of was my beginning, and then honestly, years ago, I actually worked for this awesome comic named Dave Kellett. I don't know if you know him. He does Sheldon and Drive.
Okay.
And so I worked for him and his really great friend and collaborator, Fred Schroeder, were putting together this indie comic strip documentary. And so I actually ended up being an associate producer for it. And it was just a cool project where they got to interview people like Bill Watterson, who at the time, was not really getting interviews until he gave his first audio interview ever. He did the poster art for it, which was awesome. I have to admit, I put on white gloves and I got to hold the art, and it was crazy and cool. And I said, "Are you guys sure I should be holding this even with these gloves?" And they're like, "Yes." And I was like, "Okay, I'm going to give it back now." It really felt like, like I was holding a newborn baby, where I was like, what's happening? So, but it
I've
was awesome.
I've seen the documentary Stripped.
Oh,
And
nice.
because it was on Netflix for a while. I don't know if it
Yes,
still
it
is.
was.
Is it still there?
I actually don't know if it's still there. I haven't looked lately. I should
Okay,
give it
because
a
because I mean I've talked to other documentarians, and pardon me, slip a sip of water.
no
Um,
worries.
the yeah, sometimes there'll be a documentary and it'll be sitting on one streamer for a while, and then it will move on and then hit other platforms and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna have to see as we're talking. Maybe I'll try and find out if Stripped is still playing anywhere. My God, the life of comic strips. I'm glad that a lot of strips are finding life online. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the classic strips, as you said, the Sunday funnies that we all grew up with and everything, that's kind of a dying breed as far as newspapers go.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And it's weird to me, seeing, like my nieces and nephews looking at comics online and not in the paper.
Yep.
But at the same time, I'm glad that it lives on and another generation can see it and be like, "Oh, what's this?" And it's like, "Oh my God, yes, let's talk about Garfield. Let's talk about Calvin Hobbes. Let's talk about all of these." Um, but yeah. So anyway, as your initial question, once I worked on Stripped, I was kind of immersed again in the comics world, and then I also made my way into graphic novels and just more adult comics as well. And that's kind of how it kind of my interest kind of reborn a little bit.
Sure. And I'm looking now. So Stripped, you can rent it at Amazon right now, and it's not
Okay.
it's not that expensive. So you never know. Tubi or one of those free streamers might have it with commercials or something. So, but that there you go. So if people are really interested and haven't seen Stripped yet, it is possible to check it out. Well, back to TV and Supergirl in particular. Man, I'll tell you, I was really appreciative of where that show went season to season because it really felt like it was reinventing itself every year, not just a fresh season long story, but also attitudes. And another thing, too, I really love the way you all adapted some classic Superman stories. And when it became Supergirls, it was a completely different thing. The Red Sun story line that you guys
Mm-hmm.
explored for a season. And it was like, it was similar, but again, great differences. Even the Crisis crossover that you had a direct involvement in and stuff. Again, I think because of the nature of the CW characters, these things became their own things, and that's good. I know a lot of people sometimes will look at an adaptation of a comic and be, well, the comic went differently. And it's like, don't you want it to be a little different? Do you really want to sit there with your arms folded going, all right, they got that right. They got that right. They got that wrong. And it's like, no, it's like you want to be surprised. And that's why I've appreciated the Marvel stuff so much. I can say the same thing about the Arrowverse.
Yes, no, I completely agree on that. You want it to be a little bit different because it's supposed to be its own thing.
Yeah.
It needs to have its own, like, you need to let it breathe its own life into the medium that it is. So I totally agree. And I'm so glad you thought that. Honestly, all of that was really due to the wonderful showrunners, Robert Rovner and Jessica Queller. They, really had a new idea every season, and they really wanted to make the show evolve with the times as well, which I really loved and admired about them as well. Especially one character, Nia. I don't know if you remember her. She was
Oh yeah.
Dreamer.
Yes, I was going to ask about Dreamer. Go on, please.
Yeah. So first, trans woman superhero, and I just loved how they wanted to introduce her and how they wanted, her to be authentic. And Nicole Maines did an incredible job portraying her, and also is just a hilarious and wonderful person in real life.
That's great to hear, and truly, even before Dreamer, I think, and I hope I'm getting the actor's name right. Kyler Lee, of course, who played Supergirl's sister. Am I saying it right?
Oh, Kyler Lee, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Yeah, and I love that her and forgive me if this sounds crass, but the lesbian relationship she had, I think that was wonderful, and I think thank God television is ready, and it's about time that we're getting these opportunities to tell other stories other than just cisgender stories.
Yes, definitely. And I think that Supergirl did a really great job of balancing that, which was so wonderful. And also, showing some more diversity on screen as well.
Yeah,
The fact that we had Guardian as well, two different Guardians actually.
yeah,
And we also had Jean from the beginning,
yes.
Martian Manhunter.
Oh yeah.
Just incredible.
No, I agree with you, and again, it's I don't know. I'm glad that those shows provided that platform and helped normalize other people that deserve to be normalized. I mean, like everybody grow up, man. I mean, it's good. I mean, and I think it's necessary. And these are important steps. The way that even just the notion of black characters and Asian characters as they've evolved in television over the last few decades. And it's like, no, it's like, the storytelling should be for everyone. And that is the wonderful thing that the CW afforded this possibility.
Definitely, yeah. And I'm sad Supergirl is done, but I
Yeah.
think that I'm happy, and I'm sure all the other, writers and everyone is really happy too that it was able to end the way that the writers wanted it to.
Great to hear. And absolutely, man, I think you guys stuck the landing quite well. And no, that's going to really, as we go back, and it's so interesting. I think superhero television and films, as much as they've been around for the last 20 years, it is still kind of an opportunity to tell new stories. And I know Supergirl will be remembered fondly for doing what they did. And truly, right from the start, and I hope I'm saying her last name right, Melissa Benoist?
Yes, Melissa Benoist. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Benoist, thank you. God, man, when she was cast, it was so great. And I was lucky to be part of the press junket for her first interviews and stuff. And
Awesome.
oh yeah, man. And it was like, this is terrific. I mean, I'm a longtime comic reader and fan, and this was a really cool opportunity. And Supergirl's always been a wonderful character in the right hands. And it was just great. And also, man, that first season, and this is before you had joined, but being on CBS, I was like, oh man, I hope they're given a chance to go. I mean, Constantine was a terrific show on NBC, and it only made it through 13 episodes.
I know.
And then there have been other ones that as well have fallen to the wayside. And thank God that they had this partnership with CW and CBS. And it's like, yeah, that's where the show really belonged. I mean,
Yes.
I used to work for CBS Radio, but it really was and has been kind of geared towards an older audience. And it's like, no, the CW, just like Fox back in the 80s, it's like that's the place for a young person show. So, I mean, it's great that it found its home and then went on for another several seasons.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, 6 seasons.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
Just insane. Like hitting 100 episodes. I was like, oh my God. I work on a show that has 100 episodes. What? Excuse me? In television now? So yeah, just truly, like, Supergirl for me was a really great experience, and I met some really wonderful people there who a lot of them are still my friends right now, which is awesome to say.
That's cool. And you know it better than I do how TV is transitioning from that. Oh, a
Mm-hmm.
television show needs to hit 100 because there's syndication and all that. Well, now with all the various platforms that are out there, streaming, cable, over the air, it is interesting. And I'm glad that as opposed to having to come up with 20 to 26 ideas for a season, now the opportunity, especially from a storytelling standpoint, of hey, if we got a 6 episode story, great. If we have a 12 episode story, great. But that was my one as a viewer, I guess, frustration with some of the CW shows. And again, I understood because that's how network over the air television is built. Seasons need to be that long, but a lot of times, especially when you'd have a season long story, then you'd have your bottle episodes or your one
Mm-hmm.
shots, and it's like, all right, but you set up this big bad, get back to that story, come on, man, whatever. And and truly, I mean, it doesn't, I mean, no show can bat 1,000. I do think
Yeah.
that Supergirl did a hell of a job and more great episodes than pardon me, middling, I know it sounds worse than it is, middling episodes. But yeah, I mean, you hear what I'm saying. What do you think as a
Mm-hmm.
writer about the way television is changing right now?
I mean, I think some stories, really benefit from having like 10 episodes or 12 episodes, like you said. But I do think some others also benefit from having the longer, like 20. It just depends on the story, right? And the big bad and what kind of world that they're setting up, kind of a thing.
Sure.
And I will say that working on a show like Supergirl, where we had full, seasons every year, it did give some really great opportunities to people like myself in the support staff roles, to be able to, spread our wings and be given an opportunity to
Sure.
freelance. So I both, am excited that there is a lot more TV shows, with streaming. I think that's amazing. But also like a little sad that like other shows don't get as many episodes, and a chance to find their audience and give opportunities to everyone. So I'm a little bit both ways, if you will. I wish that we could have both. So hopefully some version of both can kind of still exist. But as long as the stories are finding their homes and their audiences and are able to be told how the creators want them to be, I think that's really what matters in the end.
I understand. Are there other, and not just DC characters, but are there DC or Marvel characters that you'd like a crack at in a television or film capacity?
Oh my God. I mean,
Ah,
yes. I mean, I've always been a longtime fan of, Jean Grey, X-Men,
sure.
for sure. I think that she's had a lot of opportunities already, so I don't think I'll ever get a crack at her. But if there ever was, she's my top for sure. Just because, like I said, I've been a fan for a very long time. Watching cartoons and whatnot, and so that would be the one I would love to sink my teeth into and give a new spin on, if you will.
Are there other Asian characters at either company that intrigue you?
Silk is really cool.
Cool. Sure. Very nice. Absolutely. Why not?
So why not? But yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good answer. Good answer. Game show. Show me Silk. That's terrific to hear. Well, again, I really hope things work with Assassin G. It's a great concept, and I really wish you all the best on the Kickstarter. Again, you're really close to your goal, but I do urge people to go to the Kickstarter page for Assassin G and support it. And I would love to see this obviously happen. Again, it sounds like it's ready. So if watch the video, see the interior art, the variant covers, and I think it will intrigue people. And what's next for you in the immediate future?
In the immediate future, honestly, is hoping to get the next issue of Assassin G going. To be honest with you,
Understood.
yeah, it's really like I said, I have a lot of story that I would love to be able to get through. So I'm hoping that, like you said, we're really close to our goal, our Kickstarter goal. Hopefully we get there, and then we can just keep on making them, which would truly be awesome. I would love to share. Obviously, I can't, but I would love to share eventually all the really cool and interesting things I have for this character.
That sounds great. Are you going to do any comic conventions to promote the book?
I just did. So I did WonderCon
Oh, great.
in March of this year. Yeah, and then I also just did San Diego Comic Con actually, and got to be on a panel, which was so cool. Oh
I
my god.
bet. Good for you. That's wonderful.
Oh my god.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was myself and Peter, Rylan, Brian, Jean, and Charlie.
Ryland Grant or who?
Hmm.
Ryland? Oh, I know Ryland. Ryland's a friend.
Yeah, he actually wrote Foshing,
Oh,
which is another Immortal Studios or Immortal Storyverse comic.
cool.
Yeah, so and they're all interconnected. So I'm also hopeful that fans and readers will be able to see some of the Easter eggs that eventually get planted or they realize. So.
Did they videotape your panel for Immortal Story? Could people see the panel if they weren't able to attend?
You know what? I don't think they were able to for San Diego Comic Con, but I do know that the trailer they put together for Assassin G that they showed there is up on the Kickstarter page.
Yes.
So please definitely watch that because that gives a really good insight into a little bit more of what the comic is, and it shows you a little bit some more of the art and gives you a little more of the background as well.
Understood. Yes, the Immortal Storyverse, everybody. Assassin G is the 4th series. And if you go to Kickstarter and look up Assassin G, you'll be able to find Jen's work there. A great video. Again, wonderful interior art, great variant covers. This looks really great. And again, I trust you, Jen, because I enjoyed your work on Supergirl. So, I think Assassin G is in good hands. And I wish you all the best. Congratulations and continued success.
Thank you so much, John, and thank you for chatting. This was really fun.
Excellent. I'm going to end it right there.
Okay.
That was